Okay, and so since there was a time lapse on the initial cutout, all you really do is just push in and snap the tab from this side, but just go pop, pop, and just do it on each corner. So when you have one of these, you want to start this way and then also get this corner. So that way you can do a couple quick swipes and then each one will be broken enough to where it can come right out. So once you have your window, then you're gonna have to get these fastened into position and then get this cut out, so then that way we can do our fine tuning on all of the other edges, because as you can see, they're just rough cut right now. So we're gonna take a file and some sandpaper and we're gonna get this knocked down to where this is a nice smooth surface. While you have it apart, it's a really good idea to go ahead and clean this off with, you know, IPA, and then take a toothbrush and then follow up with like a Q-tip to, you know, get any of this nastiness that builds up in these over time. So you want to take care of that. Make sure you clean out the included SATA connector as well as your xBox connector, and this has still got to be cleaned up and everything, so still a little nasty right now, but we'll get that all taken care of. Now for this part, I have a multi-tool that would do better for this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do it by hand, because that way it's not really like an unfair advantage against people who don't have this. So we're just gonna go do it the old-fashioned way. It is a bunch of swipes until it finally gives. And as long as you can do a decent job sanding, you don't have to worry so much about if you beat it up a little bit in the modding process, because you probably want a custom color to the console. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff, like these outer scratches, were existing, but all this is all new. So we're gonna sand it off. Okay, so we're back up and running now. After that little mishap with the Red Bull. Just trying to work this a little bit to weaken the plastic on the other side. Keeps wanting to flex down now, so probably should have just kept at it from one side. But you know, got it. All right, so now that one side is off, we can score the hell out of this side and snap it. Boom. Now our window for a hard drive is started. And then we'll get this trimmed down. We'll sand this. And then also it's important if you're trying to be careful with the surface and not cut too much out, I am angling the blade away from where I'm going. So that way it doesn't cut deep in and it's more just like a light scrape on the surface area. Now, you gotta get this back just a little bit behind where the window will be. And I'm gonna leave this a little bit flexible up until we get that window in. Might open this up more, but my plan was just to use this to save a little bit of the bezel and to keep that somewhat factory look but customized. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next part. We're gonna have to order something better than this because the one that I chose was my little 20 gigabyte, because if you're gonna lose one, you know, you want to lose the worst possible, most antiquated one you can. So, but just that way anybody who's unfamiliar with what's going on here, that's basically what's going to happen. And then there's going to be an LED here and an LED here, like, you know, a few other people have done. So that's new to me on adding LEDs to this, to your hard disk drive. But I'm going to switch this to an SSD, and then I'm going to put the housing back together and hopefully be able to show the guts in the window anyway, even though it is an SSD and it'll just be some cache, some memory caches. But you know, I think it's going to look really good, and we'll just keep it moving. After the second coat, we have some bubbling happening. This is not the time to panic. I'm personally using 320 grit sandpaper, so you just really got to go after it again. And I'm going to try and smooth out some of this stuff in here, right in there. I'm going to try and smooth that out a little bit better. But I mean, everything else came out flawless, so looks good. All lilac and all gloss black. So we should be looking really good when we put this back together. Just a quick sand with some regular 320 grit sandpaper. And then same with this, because during reassembly I got a little bit of an issue happening along this area. So no big deal, sand it down a little, give it another touch-up. Now we're on to the final coat on the chassis. I went with a different paint by design. I actually used an automotive enamel high gloss that has a rust stop in it because I had some rust going on. I cleaned it off, but I wanted to make sure that it didn't return. So even the hard drive case, that's all painted front and back. Same with the interior chassis. I'm not gonna waste my money on getting a clear one of these and an RGB fan. I just, you know, we're gonna keep it pretty basic because I want this to be a budget-friendly mod, so that way anybody can pick up and do this. So, still got this weird funky skin to it, but at the same time, I'm just gonna roll with it at this point because I can live with that. Because the hard drive cover top had a little bit of texture to it, and granted this is a lot more, but you know, I mean, I can live with that. The rest of it's butter smooth, so as long as you are happy with your mod, that's all that matters.